major step as far as the bilateral defense agreement and cooperation between India and US has been taken. The two sides have signed a new 10-year defense framework agreement. They announced this deal in Kuala Lumpur. And as it did, US Secretary of War Pete Hegseth said the partnership between the two nations has never been stronger. Now, viewers, this is the first time that the two leaders actually met face-to-face, Rajnath Singh and Pete Hegseth. And when they did, they announced a framework that will reshape the security architecture of the region, send a strong message to China, and also further give a fillip to India's defense ecosystem, the indigenous defense ecosystem. The announcement came on the sidelines of the ASEAN Defense Ministers meeting, plus in Kuala Lumpur. And now this is extremely significant because there are a host of areas where this announcement, this partnership will actually be game-changing. And let's get you some of those aspects. First and foremost, long-term access to advanced defense technologies for India. Now, this will be crucial for our indigenous defense production and our modernization aspirations. It is also likely to potentially deepen the military interoperability that exists between India and US. It could enable seamless use of each other's facilities. It will also elevate India's role within the ASEAN security framework. And this is extremely important, viewers, because New Delhi will be and is a regional stabilizer. It will be the go-to partner for maritime cooperation for America, for South China Sea, for the larger Indo-Pacific. And here's the thing. The announcement came a day after Donald Trump and Xi Jinping met for trade talks, where China got a 10% tariff cut. But a day later, the Trump administration upped the security architecture in the region, where China is the single biggest threat, and India now its most pivotal piece. And as far as New Delhi is concerned, this comes a day after it got exemptions for the Chabahar port, extremely strategic for India because it connects New Delhi to Central Asia and further ahead. Now, Donald Trump is unpredictable, viewers. He's mercurial. But connect the dots here. And it seems that Washington is willing to meet New Delhi halfway, not at its terms anymore. And that is the single biggest change that has taken place in the last week. All right, to talk more on this, let's get in P. Shankar, former ambassador to the US, to talk more about what all has changed and how one should really be reading these latest developments. Ambassador Shankar, thanks so much for speaking to me on India Sense. Let me start by asking you about the defense framework that has been signed between India and the US. The first time the two leaders met, they've called the relationship better than ever, and a defense framework that many feel could actually be probably a big game changer for the two.
Well, the defense framework is like an agreement which doesn't look at specific details, but sets out the broad framework within which interaction will take place between the two countries. So, you know, the military to military interaction, the interaction between defense officials, the interaction at the ministerial level, and 2+2, and then the, the kind of interaction between US agencies and Indian agencies, which would look at technology or development of technologies. So this framework has been in place for the last, I think, almost 30 years, for 15 years at a time. So it's a renewal in a sense. I have not had the time to really go through and see if there are any new elements in it.
Yes.
But it's good that the framework has been finalized because there's been a turbulence in the relationship.
I was coming to just
between India and the US on account of trade tensions.
I was coming to just that, Ambassador, which is that this commentary, this talk and this framework coming at a time when there's been a lot of tensions, a lot of back and forth, and to many not a lot of meeting of minds, so to say. So in the context of the present tensions, this is extremely significant.
Yes, it is, because it means that despite the trade tensions, both countries are prepared to pursue other aspects of their relationship while making efforts to resolve the trade tensions. From India's point of view, it would mean that some kind of via media is reached with regard to Russian oil purchases, with regard to tariffs, and other elements which are under discussion with the US. I think we would like some accommodation of Indian concerns, and that it should not be a one-way agreement, but should bring benefit to both sides. So those discussions are going on, and hopefully there have been some, slightly more optimistic statements on this from both sides. So perhaps some progress has been made, and I think we have to wait and watch. But the signals we've been getting from institutional Washington right from the beginning is that they would like the partnership to continue, and there's continuity in approach. So you had the 2+2 meeting,
yes,
of the defense secretaries and the foreign secretary.
Yes.
You've had other military exercises in which both countries have participated. The US has participated in Indian exercises. Indian military has participated in US exercises off Alaska. So the signals that we were getting were that there is a desire to have continuity in the relationship, in other aspects of the relationship.
All right.
Now, the point is that for India, as I said, the kind of statements which were originating from Washington, they were pretty aggressive and not very accommodating. So despite these signals, there was concern here whether the relationship could go off the rails or there would be some, pullback.
And I think that's the single biggest takeaway. Yeah.
And that's the signal we get from this, renewal of the Defense Framework Agreement.
All right, Ambassador Shankar, thanks so much for speaking to us and really highlighting that the Trump administration is now ensuring that trade is not likely to dominate the entire relationship, which has so many aspects and so many strategic layers to it. Thanks much, Ambassador Shankar, for speaking to me on India Sense.